In this weekend's UFC Fight Night main event, Tatsuro Taira takes on Alex Perez. And looking at this matchmaking, the UFC only has one thing in mind with this bout, and that is building a prospect. They want Tatsuro Taira to get a nice clean win here over Alex Perez so that they can have a Japanese prospect alongside Kai Asakura, who they just signed recently. A lot has been made about that signing. They're definitely trying to break into the Japanese market a little bit more, and they definitely want a young up-and-coming contender in the flyweight division to be able to push to those fans. But Alex Perez is low-key on his revenge arc, coming off of a brutal second-round KO of Mateus Nicolau, and he's looking to make it 2 in a row this weekend and stop the hype train Tatsuro Taira and fraud check him in his tracks. I'm going to be giving my prediction for this main event. I'm going to be breaking down a few of the things that I've noticed while watching tape on both of these guys, and I'm going to be giving my prediction for exactly how this fight is going to go. Last weekend, I did excellent with predictions. If you tuned into the video, you saw that. I went 10 out of 11. The only prediction I got wrong was Dominic Reyes and Dustin Jacoby. I've never been so happy to get a pick wrong in my life. I was there live. It was an incredible experience, an insane card to witness live. I mean, the energy in the building was fantastic, super great experience, and I swept the board for all of my bets and did really good on the picks. So coming off of a great weekend, looking to make it another correct prediction here. So let's get right into it. So of course, looking at this matchup, we got the undefeated prospect Tatsuro Taira, 5-0 in the UFC now, has looked pretty impressive for the most part. Really good jiu-jitsu, really good submission skills, very talented offensive grappler, pretty slick on the feet as well. Hasn't really proven it so far against high-level competition. The best fighter he's fought so far, Edgar Chairez, gave him a really tough fight. That was a close one. So he's definitely going to have to make improvements here with this large step up in competition against Alex Perez, who is very experienced, has been in the UFC a long time, and has fought some of the best fighters in this division's history. Pantoja, Davidson Figueiredo, outside of Demetrius Johnson. Those two are the best flyweights of all time. And he did get subbed in the first round of those fights. He is a little bit susceptible to submissions, but Tatsuro Taira is going to have to work to get Alex Perez in a position where he'll be able to take the back or threaten submissions, because Perez, his defensive grappling and scrambling abilities are very good. Been wrestling since he was very young. I believe he started in middle school, wrestled all throughout middle school and high school, wrestled in college as well, and he's also a wrestling coach as well on the side. So very well-versed grappler in his own right, Alex Perez. I think in terms of pure jiu-jitsu, Tatsuro Taira is going to be better there, but in terms of wrestling, I think Alex Perez is going to have the edge, especially defensively. He was stuffing a lot of Makayev's takedowns, and just throughout his fights and all of his career, he's been very good with the grappling, getting takedowns of his own, really good scrambles, like I said. And on the feet, he's no slouch either. Very good boxing, very aggressive, excellent low kicks as well, very powerful low kicks for a flyweight. Tatsuro Taira is good on the feet as well. Nice snappy kicks. Doesn't have a lot of power, but he's super fast, of course. For a flyweight, they're all going to be fast, but he is exceptionally quick. And, you know, he's getting better on a fight-to-fight basis. He's a young kid. It's pretty insane. Alex Perez made his professional MMA debut when Tatsuro Taira was only 10 years old, which is just crazy. I mean, the experience edge is definitely going to be on the side of Alex Perez. And Tatsuro Taira, 5 bouts in the UFC now, which is good. He's gotten that experience under his belt. But like I said, this is a large step up in competition. And to be honest, after watching the Edgar Chairez fight back, I think that Alex Perez has a really good chance of pulling this off here in this fight and fraud checking Taira, because, I mean, he has great hands, good low kicks. Tatsuro Taira, he's been literally taken off his feet by low kicks twice in his career. Chairez did it. Jesus Aguilar did it. seems a little bit susceptible to him, especially if someone really commits to him. And he was getting tagged up on the feet by Shirez as well. Shirez dropped him, I believe, as well in the first round with a left hook, and he was putting the pressure on him in the third round. One could make the argument that Shirez should have won that fight off of damage, but he was just making a lot of really stupid, low IQ mistakes, pulling guillotines, and just always giving up top position to Taira. I don't think that Alex Perez is going to be doing that. Alex Perez, really good defensive wrestling, really good hips. He's going to be getting out of the way of Tatsuro Taira's shots. He's not going to be making stupid decisions like pulling a guillotine. Jesus Aguilar did the same thing in the Tatsuro Taira fight. He landed a nasty low kick, took him off his feet, and then basically right after that, he pulled a guillotine. Tatsuro Taira gets in top position, and you're basically fucked from there. But I don't think that Alex Perez is really going to entertain going to his back. He's a wrestler. He's going to want to try and maintain top position or just stuff the takedown with a really good scramble, get his hips out of the way, and continue to keep the fight on the feet, where I believe that Perez, he's going to have a really evident power advantage here. Taira, he's young, really hasn't grown into his frame fully. Perez, he's kind of got that like dad strength. He just kind of grits through it a lot of the times, but he has a lot of power, and we saw that in the Nicolau fight. Nicolau isn't incredibly chinny. Like, he really doesn't get dropped on a fight-to-fight basis. Of course, he took a really bad KO against Brandon Royval, and then Perez right after that. But by and large, Nicolau's chin isn't terrible, and Perez found a picture-perfect shot right over the shoulder with the beautiful right hook. I was pretty convinced that Nicolau was going to win that fight, and Nicolau is honestly a really underrated flyweight contender, so I rate that win really highly for Perez. Staying in camp, getting right back into it. Taira, all the pressure is really going to be on him. He's the favorite in this matchup, about minus 175. Perez about plus 140 here, which, I agree with for the most part. I think that Tatsuro Taira has a really dangerous submission threat here in this fight, but sometimes it's a little too perfect for the UFC. Most of the time you do want to pick with the UFC market machine, pick the fighters that they want to win, but sometimes you're going to have to be able to fish out a certain spot that, there's going to be an upset in one of those scenarios. A good example of that's going to be like Joe Pyfer versus Jack Hermanson. The UFC obviously wanted Joe Pyfer to win that fight, but it didn't go to plan. Like I said, most of the time you want to go with the UFC market machine, but sometimes you can fade it. And they don't always get what they want. And I think this could be one of those circumstances, because if Alex Perez just keeps it on the feet and doesn't entertain the grappling where he could give up his back and get subbed, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he just hammers away with the low kicks and just pieces Tatsuro Taira up on the feet with the boxing. Taira does have a reach advantage here, but Perez is really good at closing the distance. And Tatsuro Taira, when he's walking back, when he's on the back foot, kind of looks like a deer in the headlights a little bit. Looks a little bit scared, looks a little bit sketched out. He wants to get it on the ground where he can utilize his jiu-jitsu. But his jiu-jitsu is literally nasty as hell. When he's transitioning, excellent. He's just rolling, and it's just smooth as butter, to be honest. And he's really good at trapping the person's arm with the body triangle as well. I've noticed that in his fights. I'm not a jiu-jitsu nerd. I'm more of a Muay Thai guy myself. I'm better at analyzing the striking, but I know good jiu-jitsu when I see it. I've taken a few jiu-jitsu classes myself, so I know what I'm talking about for the most part. But, Tatsuro Taira, very good in that area. But like I said, this is a high-level competitor that is going to be a big step up in competition. And Perez, like I said, he was out for a long time after losing those 2 title fights, and he's staying very, very active now. I feel like he's just kind of on a revenge arc, taking all of these matchups, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another win here, because this is kind of a good stylistic matchup for him, in the sense that if he keeps it on the feet, I don't think he's going to be in much danger. Alex Perez has a very good chin, but he is susceptible to getting just tagged with a clean right hand down the middle. I've noticed that in some of his fights, like with the Sheldon fight. I rewatched that back in the day, was getting clipped on the chin consistently with just a clean right hand down the middle. Tatsuro Taira, that's how he won his last fight. So I'm a little bit worried about that specific shot for Perez. But I think, like, if I were to make odds on this fight, I would probably have Perez as a 2-1 favorite because I like the experience edge. He's never gone 5 rounds, but he's been scheduled for it. He's been scheduled for it plenty of times. Perez, he's gone to a decision many times in his UFC career. Great cardio. Taira has gone to decision as well, but you never know how these young prospects are going to look in the 4th and 5th round. There's always question marks around that. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a finish here because Tatsuro Taira, obviously a live submission threat. Perez, a live knockout threat. And I could definitely see this fight ending early. In terms of keys to victory for both guys, Tatsuro Taira, it's going to have to be to utilize his reach advantage. Don't try to trade shots in the pocket with Perez because you're never going to win that battle. He has a very good chin and very heavy shots with his hands. Tatsuro Taira, doesn't do great when he's getting hit. Looks like he might not be the most durable guy, but, not confirmed chinny quite yet, but just doesn't seem to be the most durable guy. So I think you should just, keep it at range, utilize the kicks, and then force Alex Perez to have to close the distance to where you can clinch up with him, utilize the grappling, sweep his legs, and get in top position to be able to do his best work there. Obviously, going to be threatened submissions. Alex Perez, most of his losses in his career have come by submission. So obviously that's going to be a very open weakness area for Tatsuro Taira to take advantage of. I really wouldn't be surprised if he gets a submission pretty early into this fight. And also pace yourself. First main event, you're not going to want to go out there and expend all your energy chasing a finish if he rocks Perez or if he gets really close to a submission. He doesn't want to burn his arms out or his legs out if he's going for a triangle because in a 5-rounder, that's a lot of time to work. And if you burn out early, Perez could easily come back in the later rounds to find a stoppage or win on the scorecards. So I think he needs to utilize his range, threaten the submissions heavily, and of course, pace himself so that he doesn't gas out in his first main event here. Alex Perez's keys to victory. So the first thing I'm going to mention is invest in the low kicks early and often. Like I said, Tatsuro Taira has been taken off of his feet twice with leg kicks already in his career. Alex Perez has leg kick TKO stoppages. So I think that'll definitely be a weapon that he can utilize in this match. And of course, over a 5-round fight, cutting down the base, stifling the movement of Tatsuro Taira to where you can get to him with the hands a bit easier is definitely going to be a good game plan. Stand your ground, don't chase Tatsuro Taira, and apply heavy pressure with the boxing. Now, I don't think he should just try and, bum rush him, but do what he was doing against Nicolau, stand his ground, flurry when he needs to, and get respect early. And, don't make it a fight where you're just getting pitter-patted, outpointed at range, and you're really just trying to rush in and, get your get back. That's going to leave you open, for a right-hand counter down the middle. If he stands his ground, stays in the center of the octagon where he will be less susceptible for takedowns, Alex Perez, when he's in the middle of the octagon, can scramble with the best of them. Stand your ground in the middle of the octagon, make Tatsuro Taira come to you and exchange in the pocket. And I think that when they do that, in terms of who's going to be doing more damage in the exchanges, I think that Alex Perez is going to have a lot more success there. And also, just trust your wrestling. He's a very experienced wrestler, very knowledgeable about that. Like I said, he was a coach. And I think that, defensively, he did very good against Muhammad Mokaev, who, we're still having to see how good he really is. But one thing is for sure, Muhammad Mokaev is a lot stronger and bigger than Tatsuro Taira. So just in terms of, outpowering somebody in a grappling exchange, it's going to be harder to do that to Muhammad Mokaev than Tatsuro Taira. I think Taira's pure jiu-jitsu is a little bit better, but Muhammad Mokaev, he has that natural Dagestani kind of weird, unnatural strength and cardio. And, like I said, just in terms of frame, much bigger guy, going to be harder to muscle around and, have success in the grappling against him than a smaller opponent, even though there might be a skill differential between those two. If Alex Perez just trusts his wrestling and, uses that dad strength, I think he'll be able to keep it on the feet where he will have an advantage. I don't really think he needs to shoot his own takedowns because I could see him getting guillotined like he did against Figueiredo. I don't really think he needs to entertain the grappling whatsoever, except for just holding strong, holding down the fort, and defending all of the grappling exchanges that Tatsuro Taira tries to start. And I think he needs to start fast. Like I said, if he, is getting out-volumed in the beginning of the fight, that's not going to be good for him because he's going to have to start chasing. And when he starts chasing and, trying to really push the envelope, it's going to leave him open for counters. It's going to leave him open for takedowns for Tatsuro Taira. And whenever you're trying to rush something, you just never do as good. So, I think he needs to start fast so that he's not playing, the makeup game, the catch-up game on the scorecards. If he starts early and makes Tatsuro Taira have to play the catch-up game, I think that'll work a lot better for him because, Tatsuro Taira, he's used to always being dominant. He's used to, having a pretty easy fight. Other than Shirez, he's pretty much been fighting cans. CJ Vergara is not too bad, but, not a high level of competition, not a ton of experience, not being in a winning circumstance in a fight. And I feel like if Alex Perez can start fast and, put Tatsuro Taira on the back foot early and really start dominating that round right in the beginning like he did against Mateus Nicolau and kind of forcing Taira to push the envelope like he did against Mateus Nicolau to where he'll be able to get his boxing combinations off a lot easier, I think that'll definitely work for him. So those are my keys to victory for Alex Perez. So for my official prediction, I'm going to be predicting that Alex Perez finds himself a KO in the third round. I just really don't like that look of Tatsuro Taira getting pieced the fuck up by Edgar Shirez and arguably losing that fight. He's a great grappler, really good submissions, but I just see such a clear path to victory here for Alex Perez. Use the defensive wrestling, keep it on the feet, stand your ground, and land heavy leg kicks and boxing combinations on him. Even though he's going to be at a reach disadvantage here, Tatsuro Taira, unless he's catching you with a picture-perfect right hand right on the chin, he's not doing a ton of damage on the feet. I think Alex Perez is going to do more damage over the course of the rounds. I think he can win a decision here as well, but I am going to say that Alex Perez wins via third round TKO. I think Tatsuro Taira will start early, probably get the first round, but Perez, he's going to start scrambling. He's going to start gassing Taira out because Taira's really going to have to be chasing the grappling. And when they're on the feet, I think Perez is going to be investing in the legs, landing body shots, and really hurting Tatsuro Taira upstairs with the boxing combinations. I see him getting a third round KO here. I think it's a little too much too early for Tatsuro Taira. I don't think that the UFC is going to get what they want here. And yeah, give me Perez as an underdog here, plus 140. I like the experience advantage. I'm not going to be surprised if Tatsuro Taira wins this, but yeah, I'm going to trust Alex Perez here. I've been really trying to dial in with these, young contender versus proven veteran matchups. I got the Edson Barboza versus Lerone Murphy fight wrong, and I learned from that, and I was able to get the Jared Cannonier versus Nasty and Imavov fight right. Even though it was a little bit of an early stoppage, I think Imavov was on his way to winning a pretty clear decision there. So, it's hard sometimes being able to gauge just how good these prospects are when they go against a veteran, but I'm going to trust in the experience here. Give me Alex Perez via round 3 TKO. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great rest of your day.